So Shabbat Shalom, I know the rabbi's late and wearing jeans. Oy vey. So we had jammies and jeans tonight with our littles, and I was sitting and eating with my children and then looked at my watch and said, time to run. So it's good to be here, it's good to celebrate Shabbat with you, and we'll begin on page 14 with Yedid Nefesh.
Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshokatach, Eretz Onach, Meshokatach, Yadai, Eretz Onach, Yarut Abdach, Kemayar, Yishtachav Yadai, Elul Hadarach, Yedinotach, Minofetzuv Yadai, Vechol Tadam.
We'll turn the page to the first of the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, so on page 15, Lechu Neranena.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nari halitzu yishenu, nekadma b'anav b'todah, bizmirot nari alo, nekadma b'anav b'todah, bizmirot nari alo, ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mekere haaretz, v'torcho tarim lo, asher beyado mekere haaretz, v'torcho tarim lo. Arbaim shana akut bedor va'omar amto elevavim vehem lo yadu Nishmati ve'api inimon menuchati.
Page 16.
Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basu miyom le'yom yeshuato. Saperu v'goyim kevodo v'chol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai u'mulal me'yod norahu al kol Elohim ki kol Elohei ha'amim merilim Adonai shamayim asa, od behadar lefanam, od betiferet bemiktasho, havol Adonai משפחות העמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אמרו אדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותו, שכבו לאדוני בחברת קודש, כאילו מפניו כל הארץ. אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיקון תבל ותימול, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירום הים אומרו, ירוס אדוני בכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל הצייר לפני אדוני, קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל וצדק, ועמים באמונתו. יאללה 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 יאללה
On page 17, we'll read together, Adonai is sovereign, let the world rejoice.
God's throne is founded on justice. Though God be clouded from view, divine justice reveals God's presence.
God's lightning illumines the earth, fire consumes God's foes, mountains melt like wax before God, the earth trembles.
The heavens proclaim God's righteousness. All people behold God's majesty.
Shame covers those who worship idols, those who take pride in revering images which must themselves bow low before God.
Hearing of your judgments, Adonai, Zion exults and the cities of Judah rejoice.
You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the faithful and saves them from the wicked.
Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable.
Rejoice in Adonai, you who are righteous. Acclaim the holiness of God's name.
And on page 18, we'll sing once again.
מזמור שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה, הושיע לו ימינו, וזרוע קדשו, הוני אדוני ישועתו, לעיני הגויים גילה צדקתו, זכר חסדו ואמונתו. לבית ישראל ראו כל אפסי הארץ את ישועת אלוהינו, הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ, פיצו ורננו וזמרו, זמרו לאדוני בכינור וכל זמרה. בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני, ירום הים ומלואו, תבל יושבה, נהרות ימחאוך, יחד הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיווה. לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל וצדק, ועמים במישרים, יאללה 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 יאללה
on page 19, the 99th Psalm reminds us of justice and this value that we have as Jews, that the world should ideally be a world of equity and justice and compassion. And yet we see over and over again that the world isn't quite there yet. And so every Friday night, as we say these Psalms, I'm reminded again and again and again, what are we doing to be working for that? Am I doing enough? And inevitably, my answer to myself over and over again is, I'm not doing enough. And so I keep thinking, okay, what can I do? What small steps can I take? And for me, that involves, building relationships in our community, both within our synagogue community and within the broader community of St. Pete, of saying, okay, I need to know who lives here if I want to be able to work with them and for them, hopefully, to work with us when we have our needs as well. So I find this psalm particularly powerful in its reminder that it doesn't matter who you are, Moses, Aaron, Samuel, these were people who were the top of our game, and even God didn't say there's prophet immunity. God said, you're judged too, that every single person comes before God.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
So on page 20, if we're able, we rise for the 29th Psalm.
מזמור לדוד, המו לאדוני בנדים, המו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, המו לאדוני כבוד שמו ישתחוו לאדוני, בדות קודש כל אדוני, על המים אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בענק, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, ושבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון בציון, כמו בני ממאי, כל אדוני רוצה לבוטש, כל אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני כולל הילות, ויחסוך יערות ובקרו, כולו מרכבון. אדוני למה בו ישב וישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, ya la la ya la la la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la la la.
You may be seated. We're at my favorite part of, the whole reason I come to Kabbalat Shabbat is for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi is my favorite part because it brings this moment together. It is not an ancient prayer. It's only a few hundred years old. It's a new prayer in our tradition from the 16th century. And it's reminding us of the blessing of Shabbat, of the power of Torah, the power of God. Every time, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, remembering that God speaks in a way that is greater than our own speech. If I tell you something, usually I say the words and hopefully you understand the words and hopefully you understand them in the way that I meant them. When God speaks, God can say more than one thing at the same time. So God was able to teach us the importance of protecting Shabbat and living Shabbat all in one breath. Of course, in our Torah, we had to write it twice because we couldn't hear that at the same time. So one is in the Ten Commandments in Exodus, and one is in the Ten Commandments in Deuteronomy. But this vision of welcoming Shabbat as this bride with this enthusiasm and this joy and this hope that this Shabbat will be different and will be filled with blessing and peace for each and every one of us. How many verses do you want to do today?
Just first two and last two.
Okay, first two and last two. Page 21, and then we'll turn to 22.
Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad Ushmo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lecho v'nelcha Ki mekor habracha Merosh mikerem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'makshava tehila. We turn the page. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi v'yad Adonai tariti al yad ish ben parti v'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Bo'ir shalom aterapala Gam besimcha ufetzochala Toch emunei am segula. Bo'ir kala Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated. Hannah, do you want to help me? Okay, come on. So, when I was a kid, one of the memories that is probably one of the reasons I'm here is that the rabbi always said, do you want to read the song for Shabbat? So I'm passing that along.
Yay!
I'll make you taller.
What am I reading?
We're on page 23. So you're going to read the first line, and then you'll read all the bold lines.
Okay.
Song for Shabbat.
A song for Shabbat is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, is exalted God.
To affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night.
To the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
How vast
your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish, and all the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted,
I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers.
The righteous.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of God.
They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant. To proclaim Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw. We'll sing the last couple lines. Okay, we'll keep going. Page 24, we'll sing together.
Adonai malacheu lavesh, lavesh Adonai otzi tazar, atikon tevel baltimot, nachon kisacha me'az, me'alam Naseu neharot Adonai, Naseu neharot kolam, Yisu neharot tochya, Mikolot ma'im rabim adirim bishmereyam, Adir b'marom Adonai, Edot techanem lo meyon. Levetcha nadav hakodesh, Adonai leorech yamim.
Mourner's Kaddish, page 24. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemer Rabba. Bi'alma divrach rotei v'yamlech machotei. V'chayechon v'yomachon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechamata damaran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. So we've been on our journey through the Pirkei Avot, and if you want to look with me, I'm on page 269 at the top of the page, the 4th chapter of Pirkei Avot, the 7th Mishnah. And here we are listening to Rabbi Tzadok, and Rabbi Tzadok Omer, Al ta'asem atara litkadel bachem v'lo kardom lachpor bachem. So that we shouldn't make our Torah a crown, an ornament for self-aggrandizement, or make it, the literal translation is a spade to dig with, that this is the only source of our income. V'kach haya Hillel omer, and this is what about that Hillel said, v'deish tamesh ketaga chalaf, that a person who uses Torah for personal gain perishes. Halamadta, from this we can learn, kol hanehaneh midivrei Torah, notel chayav min haolam, that a person who derives profit from the words of Torah It's self-destructive. Now, we may take this as a little bit of a challenge, because if we look in the world today, certainly there are people that use Torah and they write books and they share their knowledge with the world. And is that using Torah for self-enrichment? I would push back on that, because I would say most people that are writing books about Torah that are perhaps rabbis, they're sharing Torah not merely because it is their source of income, but because they are trying to share the Torah with the world. As we've read previously, actually in the very last Mishnah, the person who studies Torah in order to teach is given the opportunity both to study and to teach. And we have another place that we read frequently in Shabbat mornings of the idea that there's Torah for its own sake and Torah that is not for its own sake. Torah lishma ve'ein Torah lishma. And what's Torah lishma? Torah that is learned in order to teach. So I think a lot of this comes down to the motivation. So if you went into the rabbinate, if you went into writing about Torah in order to get rich, well then that's not going to work out so well for you. Also, I got news for you. On the other hand, if you go to share Torah with the world, and maybe you do okay on the side, that's not the end of the world. But if you're doing it, this is one of those places where intention really matters, because if your intention is merely, I'm going to rake in the cash, on the latest podcast or TV series, I don't know, maybe instead of Game of Thrones, it'll be Game of Covenants. I don't know. That sounded funnier in my head. So if you're doing that, then you've got a problem. But if you are trying to bring Torah in this world, then you're doing okay. And just the next one is real short, and I think on the same point, from a different Rabbi Yossi, who says, Kol mechabed et Torah, gufo mechubad al habriot. Whoever honors Torah will in turn be honored by others, and whoever dishonors Torah will in turn be dishonored by others, which also sounds like another one of the Mishnah we've learned before, that who is the one who is respected? The one who shows respect for others. Because it seems to me, if you're showing respect for others, if you're teaching Torah and you're learning Torah, then hopefully you are on a good path that will bring a little bit of respect back to you as well. So we'll keep studying next week. We'll turn now to page 28 and rise for the Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch nevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'yado ha'aravim ha'aravim b'ch Moshe ha'aravim ha'aravim.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari Varavim.
Page 29, the bracha before Kriyat Shema.
Ahavat Olam Bet Yisrael Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shakveinu uvkumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem ha'elu me'orech yameinu Me'orech yameinu יחזיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע
ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושכבך ובתומך וקשרתם לאות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
והיה משמעת שפתי אנוכי מצוונם.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
On page 32,
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות נוסף אליהם מלכותך רעבנך בוקר ים לפני משה זה לי אנו בעברו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גא ישראל.
on page 33, below the line, protect us with your gift of peace by helping us to overcome temptation.
When we are weak, sustain us. When we despair, open our hearts to joy.
Shelter us in your embrace of peace when we are caught by conflict or desire.
When we are torn, heal us. When we are tormented, touch us with tranquility.
Cherish our fragmented lives, make our lives whole again through integrity.
When we deceive, turn us to you. When we corrupt, capture our hearts anew.
Protect us from ourselves. When we falter, help us to conquer the enemy within.
When we blunder, restore us. With compassion, teach us that peace is based on your truth.
And I'm thinking about this version of Hashkivenu today. I was talking to somebody, and I had a few sad calls I had to deal with today, and and I shared that with somebody, and they said, it's the way of the world. There's a lot of sadness in the world, and I said that's true, but there's also a lot of joy in this world. And for all the days when we get all the calls of people's sadness and their challenges, we also have all the days when we have all the calls where people share all the good in their lives. And there's so many blessings that we have in the community, in our city, in this world. And we have to keep finding those lights amidst the darkness as well. So we'll rise, page 34 for Vishamru, for the Chatzi Kaddish, and then we take time for our Amidah on 35.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש יתגדל ויתקדש שמך
אמן.
יאמר יברכנותי וימליך מלכותי מחייך וביומך וחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן נשמרה מבורך לעולם לעולם לעולם
יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשם
בריחו.
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה ואמרו אמן.
My lips and my mouth may declare your praise.
finish your prayers, you turn and join us on page 47 for Vaychulu. If you're not ready, just keep going.
Vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'kol tzevam vayechol Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayekadesh oto ki bo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur Hanora El Elyon Konei Shamayim Haaretz Magen Avot Milaro Mechayim Etim Lemamaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kavau Hameniach Le'amo B'yom Shabbat Patsho Ki Am Ratza Le'aniach Lahem Ki Am Ratza Le'aniach Lahem Lefanav Navod Be'ira V'fachad B'nodel Lishmor L'chol Yom Tavid Me'ol habrachot El ha'onahot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShabbat U'barech Shvi U'meniach B'kedusha Ve'amedu Shnei Oneg Zecher L'maseh Bereshit.
Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest. Instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so we might serve you faithfully, lovingly, and willingly. Adonai, our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people Israel who hallow your name will always find rest on this day. Baruch atah Adonai, praised are you, God, Mekadesh HaShabbat, who hallow Shabbat. Kaddish Shalem, page 48.
Yirkana v'yikadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'almati v'rakirutei v'yamlik v'akotei m'gaya kolam v'mei kolam gayinu v'Yisrael. Bagala v'izman kari v'imro amen. Yesh me'rabba mevorach le'alam me'almaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'shbach partra v'naseh v'dadar v'toleh v'talal. Shmeir Godesha Brechu Le'ela min komingata mishirata Tushbekata v'negamata Davira me'alma v'imro Amen. Titzka batzon hervat onnego Yisrael Kodam avon v'ishmaya v'imro Amen. Yesh l'marabba min shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'alko Yisrael v'imro Amen. Ose shalom imromav, Yaseh shalom, aleinu v'alko Yisrael ואימרו Amen.
The Kiddush for Shabbat is found on page 49.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon himchilanu זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו מקומים ושבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הכלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
On page 51, we turn to Aleinu.
עלינו לשמח רצון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו גויים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We remember Bennett Samuel Krupkin, Frida Fleischer, Irene Maller, Abraham Pardal, Dina Ginsburg, Helen Brenner, Helene S. Wise, Leah Kanner, Ann Warner, Anna Miller Spitalnik, Barnett Sakrin, Edward Quarton, Esther Sandberg, Irving Barth, Erwin Harold Miller, Rabbi J. Leonard Asnier, Rose Asher, Samuel Stone, Sheila Reed, Adolph Rausch, Bessie Robinson, Harry Henkin, Lillian Schuttner, Mandel Scher, Raquel Masri, Samuel Levine, Alice Levitt, Arnold Horn, David Meyer Ikovitz, Esther Fish, Ethel Axelrod, Eugenia Sater, Francine Ringler, Herschel W. Newmark, Kenneth Hyman, Betty Rothstein Rabin, David Berger, Hannah Freed, Hazel Schwer, Joseph Michael Mel, Pearl Brook, Ricky Martinez, Samuel Rossman, Abraham Halpern, Frida Judenfriend, and Isaac Circasi. In their memory, we praise God's name. We are grateful to God for the gift of the lives, for the joy that we shared and the memories that will not fade. We praise God, page 52. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. בעלמה תפרח רותי וימלך מלכותי. בחייכון ויומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דמרן ועלמה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, אף הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen. So I thank Hannah for helping me tonight, and I thank everyone for being here and making it work. So let's keep trying. Tomorrow morning is Simcha Shabbat, so if you are celebrating a birthday in February, an anniversary, another special occasion, hopefully you helped sponsor the Kiddush, and we'll have a nice little lunch. And for the first time in a very, 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 very long time, we're actually going to eat it inside. Now, there's a couple of rules with that. You know, we will ask everyone when they come tomorrow to please keep their mask on except when they're actually sitting at a table. And you'll notice there are not as many chairs around the table as we're used to. So we're trying to keep fewer people around the table. We'll have more tables spread out, but we are looking forward to being together and celebrating together. And I know we live in Florida, but it's been like winter the last couple Saturdays, so it'll be nice to be inside. Of course, tomorrow I'm sure it's going to be like 75 and sunny, but you can sit outside if you want. And we'll conclude with Yigdal on page 53. Oh, also, I'm excited for Jews and Brews on Wednesday. We got lots of other stuff going on, but I'm excited to do Jews and Brews, go out with people again, and to be careful and to celebrate together. So, Yigdal, page 53.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח נמצא וילד אל מציאותו אחד אין יחיד כייחודו נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמות הגוף ואין לו גוף לא נערוך אליו קדושתו קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון וראשית לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם וכל האוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמשה או נביא, הוא מעביד את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל, היה נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחליף האל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו. צופן יודע שצרינו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומר לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, יסלח בגשמים משיחנו, לפתות מהקקת ששועתו. מתים מיכאל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עד שם תהילתו. מתים מיכאל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עד שם תהילתו.
Yasher Koach. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Hope to see you tomorrow. Oh, also tomorrow, one more thing tomorrow. So we have tomorrow morning Simcha Shabbat in the morning, and then we're doing our mini Malav Malka in the evening. So we'll have Mincha, a mini Sudash Shlishit, Mariv, and then bring your guitar, and we'll do a little sing-along as well. So it's a good Shabbat weekend, and then also this busy week. Sunday morning is Worldwide Rap. There's apparently a football game or something too, but